All right. Once again, I'm here, very first colony in the bee yard. We're at 70 degrees. You might have seen how they flew up off of there. I've had them open for just a couple of minutes. I've got one frame out from this side, and then I worked my way across, and there's a little bit of honey on the outside frame, a little bit here, and it gets kind of let. This one has quite a bit of honey on one side. This colony is not in good shape as far as food stores go, but they are really building up. And so I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. One interesting thing I noticed when I opened this colony is that there's quite a few bees in here. There's one right there. Let me see if I can get right on that black frame. And she just crawled across, that have orange dots on their forehead. So anyway, I'm working my way through this colony, and I don't have a veil on. I don't have gloves on. I prefer not to wear all that stuff. I can't see very well through a veil. One thing I won't do is work without a smoker, no matter what I'm doing. It doesn't take very long. One wrong move in the bee yard, and you can get your bees angry. And if you don't not wear a veil and you don't have a smoker on, hot, smoking, ready to go, you can get yourself in trouble. So I don't have a veil. This isn't my first year doing this. I considered it. I often will put a veil on. I do have a bee jacket laying on the seat of the truck. So anyway, I got to would be the fifth frame from the side closer to me. And there was just a small baseball size frame of brood. And I thought, well, that's nice. And I looked on the other side, same thing, it's capped on the other side. And then I got to this black frame. Let me get them all. What happens you'll see that they gather up on the top. But if I give them some smoke, they'll go back down. If they're on the top, and especially on a day like today, it's warm, but it's windy and it's cloudy. So they just most of the bees went back down. And I'm going to pull this frame out, because I pulled this frame out and I thought, wow, this is nice. So look at that side. You see that? Look at all that nice brood. Nice pattern. The other side, nice pattern. There's bees with pollen, big pollen sacs, yellow pollen sacs. There's pollen packing in. So they're going to town raising brood. And again, I'm looking across this frame. I'm seeing orange dots on their forehead. I'm going to have to talk to the farmer here and see if he's got something orange out somewhere. Because it looks like somebody went through with a little tiny paintbrush and put a dot right between the frontlets of their eyes. Really strange. So anyway, after each frame that I look at, I give them a little bit of smoke just on the top. I'm not trying to hammer them, but just a little bit of smoke just to keep them calm. Because like I said, I'm not wearing other protective clothing, and I'm working real slow, right? I'm trying not to squish bees. I'm going to bring this out away. It's important you take that first frame out. So if I'd have tried to pull these out, I'd have been rolling bees over. They'd have been getting squished. They'd be upset. Then I'd be upset. Then I'd have to put my coat on. And working with a bee jacket is tough. All right, so look at that frame. Again, the inside of that is opened up, but that's brood that's hatched out, right? This side's the same way. The inner part of that frame was the first nest, and now they've expanded the nest and they've gone around that. Now it's capped. And so we've got two frames of brood here. Actually, there's pollen in the middle of that one. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but they're packing pollen right into the nest. And, if this was in June or July, I'd be worried about all that pollen being in the middle of the nest. But they are raising so much brood right now and eating so much pollen, consuming so much honey, that they're not bringing enough in to keep this pace. So they're consuming their resources. So what I want you to see, this is a single brood box colony. They've come through the winter. They're now coming out of their winter nest, and they are going crazy on the brood, which is wonderful, right? Look at that. Full frame of brood there. And it's both sides, right? And what isn't capped brood right there has some open brood in it, all right? Now, I don't want to keep it open really long, but I just wanted to say this. This is a single brood box. There's some honey in here, but it is not enough to supply all of these bees that are going to hatch out in the next 8 days. This one has a, well, this one's all young brood. There's a little bit of capped brood in the middle. The outside is all pollen. They have pollen. They're bringing pollen in, and it looks like they're finding it somewhere, and that's great. But if they don't have honey or sugar water, they're going to starve to death in the next few weeks. It takes a frame of honey about every week or so minimum to feed a growing nest like this. Like I said, this queen is doing a fantastic job. She's brought this colony through the winter. They are healthy, they are strong, they are big, and they're calm. You see that? Now, how can I tell they're calm? If I move my hand over like this, and I don't mean jerking it, if I just erased it back and forth, they would probably attack it. But they're calm. I can wave my hand over it, they're not attacking me. So if I take my hive tool out of my pocket and I come to work the colony and they don't attack my hand, they're not an aggressive colony, right? So this is a nice colony. They're all collected back on the top. I'm going to put that last frame in, but before I do it, I'm going to give them a little bit of smoke. See how they disappear? I'm going to smoke the frame that I'm going to put in there. I'm just enamored by it. It's fascinating, these bees that have the orangish red dot on their forehead. I saw another one. All right, so I really want to take all that propolis off of the edge of the frames, but I can't really do that right now. All right, so here's the plan. I have pollen patties with me. I'm going to give them a pollen patty, and then I'm going to put everything back together, but I'm not going to put it right in the center because that's where the hole is at that I'm going to feed them through. And I'm going to have the kids mix up for me some sugar water this weekend, and Monday when I'm going around, I'm going to have somebody with me that can put some sugar water in buckets and feed the bees that need to be fed. Right now they have a lot of pollen, but I'm still going to put about a half a pollen patty in here because this pollen patty also has some sugar in it. So it's kind of emergency feed kind of a deal. Do they need it? Probably not. And these global patties, it has real pollen in it, some real pollen. One side has holes in it. The other side is solid paper. I'm going to take the solid paper part off, and I'm going to put that down because I don't see any hive beetles right now, but I have, generally speaking, I have a hive beetle problem. So this location isn't terrible for hive beetles, but it's they're here. So I'm going to smoke them out of the way, and I'm going to put this patty right there, right? And I left the stuff there. I have an inner cover for this colony. So I'm going to shake those bees off of that. And I'm going to take this, see, I've got an inner cover with some spacing there. And that also helps with the hive beetle issue, because if the bees can get all around that pollen patty, then the hive beetles don't have any place to hide except on between the top bars of these frames and that pollen patty. So if I leave some of this propolis and it holds it up, that'll help the bees to get under there and police that and keep the hive beetles from working in that. So anyway, that's a single deep colony.